Alright, so the box from Mirror's Miniatures finally came in. Actually, what's funny is that the day I submitted the quick Vallejo paint video, these came in the next day, so I was just rather excited. They come in a little white box. This came in a little white box with all its little brothers and sisters, wrapped in bubble wrap. It's a very tight little package. Now, I'm surprised just from seeing them in the package how detailed they were. Now, I'm pulling this out of the package untouched. I haven't gone inside and cleaned anything, you know. So what you're going to see is what you're going to get more than likely. Maybe more flash on yours or what have you. That's just part of the molding process. So we're going to open her up here. Little goodie bag. Here's one of the arms. I'll get a close up here in a minute. A little bit of flash here and there. Little spindly parts. That's just excess mold. Another arm, probably, or a leg. They do come unlabeled, so you just kind of figure it out yourself half the time. Other part. Now it's kind of cool that they have these little bitty, tiny, really detailed branches. I'll show you the details here in a minute. And they have branches scratched in to the actual actual sprue there. And you get a couple of those. Some of them have broken off, not broken, but broken off the sprue in the package. Like this one right here. It came off in the package, probably in transit, being bounced around. They are quite tiny. Here's that main body, and that's one of the little branches right here. This guy is a chunk. This is a highly detailed, pretty cool little chunk. This thing right here. I'll get you close up here in a second. Get all the things of the box, of the little bag first. Just used to saying box because of sprue boxes, you know. The little branch. Let's see here. I believe there'll be another leg. Got little stumpy legs in this guy. And then another little branch and some of the other mold flashing. And it comes with a big round, let's see here. This is a 80mm round base. I don't use round bases, so it's going to go in a pile, probably use for something else. So here's a close-up of the main body. It's a main body head assembly going on here, so the head's built in basically. And you got all kinds of textures on this. You got skulls, you got vines, you got what looks like moss in here, some dirt, tree root. Here's some of them. I think this part is textured on top, and it feels like moss, like a mossy covering. It's pretty cool. I love how these vines, they look like veins almost. That's pretty awesome. That's a pretty cool little sucker right here. Got these big spines here. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be wood or stone, but I'm pretty sure you can make it anything you want it to be. You know, it's your model. You can paint it how you want to. You got more skulls in the back here. It's got a nice undeathy, maybe chaotic feel to it, or simply like a nature feel. You can use this model for anything, really. I'm gonna find a use for it in my undead army for something. I can find something I can use this for, no problem. And you got your pour points down here as well. Now what I'm gonna do is, here's one of the arms. Arms got the same motif going. You know, you got, it's basically a tree branch with, or is this a foot? No, I think this is an arm. Because there's no footy part on it. So I'm pretty sure this is an arm. See all the detail on there. The crawling. There's a lot of detail on this. And it's like the wood's got texture to it. It's going to eat up so much paint. I'm so excited to dry brush it. Because this part right here, it's going to be an absolute pleasure to dry brush. And I cannot wait. All the little crawling vines on it. It's pretty cool. There's one of the legs. You know, tendrils. I'm pretty sure this is a leg because this is flat on the bottom. But those tendrils on it, the stone, all those nice textures, lovely modeled like that. Here's the other arm. This arm's got a bit of a claw going on. And the best part is this claw, you can fit anything you want into. You can fit a rock into it, a weapon into it. I'm sure if you warm these up, you kind of bend them in, make a little fist if you wanted to. Probably take a horse and just kind of like maybe warm them up and stick a horse in there, you know, so it's kind of like it's holding a horse or something like that, you know. You can do all kinds of fun stuff with it. This kind of open arm on there. A little bit of creative modeling here and there's some green stuff and you're good to go. you know. And then you got these branches, and there's little bitty branches. These have the most flash of all the pieces by far, probably because they're so thin. All these little translucent parts right here are all the flash. So what I'm going to do is, I'll take a minute. I'm going to take my little toothbrush here and brush away all the flash. Now, you probably cut all this out too, because it's going to be boring. No one likes watching people brush off flash off of models. It takes forever. So I'll see y'all here in a minute. There are little pour points or whatever on these things. You can leave them, but I'm going to cut them because they're really awfully straight compared to the rest of this model. So I'm just going to cut them off. Okay, so I got everything good and cleaned off. You can see all the plastic here. Make sure all the sticks are clear of the model, so that way all of your hard points for the legs and the arms are clear of any kind of debris or debris that might be getting in the way. But I'm going to put together real quick with some super glue, and we'll see how he looks. Wait for it to dry. Dry, little stumpy legs, dry. Alright, so I think the legs are set here. Alright, go. And it really depends on how it's cut, I've noticed, on how well you clear the area. Because on this leg right here, I have very little gap issue. This required almost no green stuff on this leg. However, on this leg, I didn't quite clear it good enough on the bottom, so I got a gap. But that's my fault, because if this one could go on clear, that one can go on clear. So the issue is clearly with me and how I cut. So I went ahead and just raised it upward and fit it flush on the top with no gap. That way the bottom part can just be filled in with, well, whatever. And so after that harrowing half hour of drying, I'm going to go ahead and glue on the arms. And we'll see how that goes. So now that the legs are all set, I'm going to go ahead and glue on the arms by liberal application. So, let us pray. Holding on to the other arm. Had to cut it flush because I suck at cutting. Man. All the problems are me. So here we go. We got all his arms and legs put on, and he's almost to being a completed beast of the Cill Chonn Bog, or I'm gonna butcher his name, but it's Mórannach. I'm sure I'm probably saying it wrong, but you know how us Americans butcher any name we get our hands on. But he's actually looking really good. I got a little of a runny spot with the glue, and that's mostly my fault. But it shouldn't do much harm to it. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the branches. And in case you're wondering, it's labeled back branches, regular branches, wherever you want to put it, and then left arm branches. I'm going to go ahead and attach those branches where I think I want to have them. And then I think it'd be great to rest and prime. So let's get them branches on. Alright, so during putting together, I decided I didn't like holding on to the parts, because I'm putting all the little things on. Kept them to grab them here or grab them here. I want to put some more stuff onto him, so I decided he's got these big, thick, beefy legs. That's solid resin or plastic. Or I'm pretty sure this is actually resin. So I drilled holes in both his feet and mounted him to a block to make priming and painting them easier. So I would suggest you do the same, just to help, so you're not touching the branches, or because these things are when you have them when you want them to stay there. So do what I did and simply drill holes to the feet and mount it to something. So that way it's easier to, you don't have to hold on to them as tightly. You can you just look around on them and all that. Now, because it's a monopose figure, I decided to add a little more character to him by adding a spear here and a broken lance in his arm. But due to the fact that don't be scared away by the fact that it's a monopose model, because that doesn't matter at all. What they've done is that they've given you so much canvas to make it your own. With most hollow models, like from Games Workshop or box sets, you are kind of limited because they can't support a lot of really fun things that go inside of them. Bit of flash, everyone get out. Come on, Flash. And so I like what they did with this model because it's big, it's beefy, there's a lot of resin in this guy, so you can drill holes for like ornamentation. You can kind of cut parts out or green stuff on top of him, banners, or you can do whatever you want with this model. Besides just having it standard, you can still make a monopose model your own. And they give you such a beautiful monopose model that you almost feel a need to give him even more character, I mean, you give him a story. And honestly, I'm blown away by how much stuff there is on this model. Because the texture, it's very textured. I wish y'all could feel through the camera the textures on this guy, because it's got this nice mossy, rough texture to him. You got the smooth branches and all that. And due to my poor cutting, I'm gonna put a little green stuff in the armpit, put a little green stuff on the leg here, make it all nice and tight, and then he'll be ready to prime, to be fair, and then ready to paint. In which I'll go through with a next video and me painting him or priming him and all that fun stuff. But overall, I believe this is most certainly worth the money from Mears Miniatures. He retails for £47.49. Let's see, when I convert that to burger dollars, it's about $65.54 burger dollars for this model. And I believe it's worth it, honestly. You get a nice big monster model that's covered in nice details, that's very intricate looking, and very interesting to boot. Like, you're kind of hard pressed to find a model like this one on the market. If you want a big bog monster, hell, they got two varieties. They got this bog monster and another bog monster they just released, I think it was not even a month ago. And the big tree man they got with him. If you have like a wood elf or Sylvan elf army and you want something different than your normal dryad or a tree person or a nature elemental, you go for this, because I've seen the prices of other models, and this is actually cheaper by quite a few dollars than other models. I mean, it is monopose, but a lot of models are monopose, and that shouldn't scare you away from getting this model. But by far, I believe it is worth the money spent, and I'm gonna have an absolute blast painting this guy. I hope y'all can see here just how imposing he looks, on camera. All those textures and all that. Gonna give you a quick close-up. You can see all the. You also see the texture right here. That right here is that texture I'm talking about. That rough, mossy texture. I'm just gonna slowly rotate around so y'all can see all the stuff. Those small vines, the textures, those rock spikes, the skulls, the branches, the roots, all that fun stuff. And I didn't put all the branches on there. I didn't want too many branches. That's my personal preference. I didn't want all the branches on there. I just put some on there. You see the gap here. Again, that gap is my fault because I didn't cut it quite as good as I should have. But a little bit of green stuff. And anyone who's been around any model knows there is no perfect model. I bought $100 models from Games Workshop, and the damn things had gaps on them that had to go in there and green stuff. So them having a gap, that's no problem. All models have gaps. Don't think it's got a gap in it, man. Don't worry about it. Don't fret over it. You get some green stuff or some gap filler. You place it in there, and you're good to go. And it's not like the gaps are gonna look super out of place anyway on a big old bog monster. You do a little creative painting, and no one ever knows a gap there in the first place. But if you look inside his skull, there are pupils inside his eyeballs. If you look right there, that's inside there. That is a modeled pupil, and there's another one as well. So they both have modeled pupils within the eye socket, which is going to be pretty cool because it means you can go in and do a really bright highlight and it's going to glow, from outside the socket. So that's pretty exciting. But overall, I am honestly very pleased with the model, and I'm going to have an absolute blast painting this thing. And maybe even convert it even more, but I may leave it at this and just buy a second one and do some wild stuff with that. Because you could use this as like your BSB or a unit filler. Have a big old flag sticking out of it. You know, it's a really cool model. And I love the wood grain they did. I've seen a lot of woody models, and I get to see a wood grain quite as good as this, especially when it's broken off. And they went absolute ham on that broken wood right there. I mean, that is a lot of depth in that shattered lumber, and it actually looks like a tree. Like a lot of elemental models, they don't look like a tree. You know, they you can tell, oh, it's a tree person, but they don't have that feel or that look like actual lumber. And this is really neat. I cannot wait to paint this. But yeah, honestly, I would give it a solid A on the model, you know, and that's not, I'm not saying that lightly either, because I've given a lot of models not good ratings. I mean, I'm like the Games Workshop Graveguard, I hate him. That's an F model for me. I hate I hate that model. I've given F rankings to Mantic models. You know, not on video yet, but I'm gonna say, you know, they were bad because they had molded on shields and goofy ass character construction. And the Games Workshop Vampire Spawn I hated because they look super goofy and they are super gappy. Cannot wait to buy more of these and have a little stomper unit. And I really appreciate Mears Miniatures doing the monster sale that allowed me to afford this guy and the next model we're going to have up on this series. So I will see you guys next time when he is primed up and he's ready to paint. I cannot wait to share it with you.